Hey there, Becca here from Inside the Square, and in this video, I'm going to teach you all about the options you have for a lesson inside a Squarespace course. We'll be reviewing the settings and the design options available in the Squarespace interface, and without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so we can get started. We'll go ahead and start with the settings here in the course by clicking on an existing lesson and selecting Edit Lesson. Under the General tab, this is where you add the title of the lesson, the excerpt, you can customize the URL slug for that specific lesson, and include a thumbnail. This thumbnail is going to be featured on the course overview page, as well as the course navigation, also known as sidebar, that shows up on the individual lessons. After that, we have the video option. Now, if you don't have a video for a lesson, that's okay. Just toggle that option off. You don't have to have one displayed to have content for that specific lesson. But if you do have a video, toggle that on. If you select the replace option here, you'll see we can upload a file, select a video that's already in our library, or add one from a YouTube or Vimeo link. Underneath the video, you'll see custom featured image. This is not the same as the thumbnail that we'll see in the course overview or the course navigation. This image will show up over the video on the individual lesson page. Now, last but not least, we have the status option, and you'll probably recognize this if you've ever worked with the blog in Squarespace before. We have three options here: draft, published, or scheduled. For those of you that want to release drip content for your course, you can schedule them in advance to be released at a specific date and time. There are two last things I want to show you in the settings option here because I have a feeling I'll be using at least one of them quite often in my own content. On the General tab, at the very bottom, you have the option to duplicate a lesson. Once you've dialed in the design of that lesson absolutely perfectly and want to repeat it throughout your course, select Duplicate and just change the necessary elements to reflect the content for that lesson. Underneath that, you'll also find Delete. You can delete that lesson at any time and it will be removed from the course content. We'll go ahead and select Save, and let's take a look at the actual lesson page. Now let's hop into edit mode and review all of the design options we have for the lesson layout. One of the first things you'll see are these dots right here. This is what I referred to as the course navigation or the sidebar. This can be on the left or the right-hand side of the screen, and it overviews the chapter titles and all of the course content. We have some setting options here that we'll review when we select Edit Layout for the specific section, but I do want to mention we've got the progress bar here, and this is the chapter title. This content right here where it says 2 lessons in 18 seconds, this is automatically calculated by Squarespace when you add video content and lessons to that particular chapter. Let's go ahead and close the sidebar. Here we have the title of the course, and over here underneath our edit options, let me scroll a little bit so we can see it. We have a button that says Complete and Continue. That's how you can mark the specific lesson completed. You'll also see that down here at the footer of that page. Now, scrolling back up here, let's talk about the layout. We have the video that we've uploaded for this specific lesson. Then we have the title of the chapter and the title of the lesson. Now, I'm sure you're already noticing we've got this familiar blue line. This right here is the content that's specific to the lesson. Underneath that, we have a standard page section. That's right, we have fluid engine sections and even the option to select auto layouts like list sections and galleries. You can add as many sections as you like. I'm sure there's a limit, but I didn't discover one when working with these. Lots of options there for tons of customization, and yes, all of the content blocks respond to the standard CSS selectors that we already use. Now again, at the very bottom here, we have a footer section that also says Complete and Continue. At the time of recording this, that's the only option down there, and we can't adjust the layout using the design menu. Now let's scroll up and talk about that design menu. Our first option says Edit Video, and just like we saw in the settings, we can toggle on or off that option, upload the video, and upload the custom featured image. This is literally a copy of the video tab in the lesson settings, the exact same content. Whatever you edit here will be edited in that same tab that we looked at in the beginning of the video. So let's talk about our next option here, Edit Layout. When you select Edit Layout, the first thing you'll see are lesson buttons. Desktop and mobile can actually be separate, which I think is a genius design change. If you want to use a slightly smaller font on your mobile device, you can select a tertiary button or even secondary, leaving desktop at primary, but it will match the style that you've already set up in your Site Styles option. After that, we have Course Navigation. Now, you might remember I refer to this as sidebar or course navigation. I've heard both terms used, so I wanted to use both, but that's this icon here that pulls out the chapters and lessons. This is where you can toggle on or off the lesson thumbnails, whether or not you want that lesson thumbnail to show up. After that, we have lesson element spacing. Let's scroll down a little bit to see what this affects here, because it affects the chapter and the lesson title. Small, of course, will reduce the spacing, medium makes it bigger, and then we have large. But if you don't want to work with the preset, select these 3 dots and you have a lot more customization options. The header spacing is going to increase the space between the bottom of the video and the chapter title. Chapter name spacing is the space between the title and the lesson title. And then lesson title spacing is the space between the title of the lesson and that bottom blue line before those page sections start. Our last option here in the design menu is the divider, which I'm sure you're very familiar with. This matches all of the standard settings that we're used to for a page section. So that's it for your overview of the layout here inside the video. One last thing I wanted to share with you are your options that are available on the font menu and the color menu inside Site Styles. We click on Site Styles here and select Fonts, scroll down to Assign Styles, and here you'll see the options that we have for the actual lesson. We've got to scroll down quite a ways here because they are close to the bottom being so new. There we go. All right, so here we have the side nav chapter name, the metadata, the lesson name, lesson metadata, all kinds of fun stuff here. These are set to standards inside your font menu like heading and paragraph. But if you click into any of these, like lesson name, for example, I can actually customize this to anything I want it to be. I can select custom and I can choose any font family that I want here. Maybe we want to use Lobster. That's one of my favorite fonts. Let's scroll down and check it out. Just the lesson title has changed, or lesson name, I should say, on this lesson page. So if you want to customize any of the fonts, scroll all the way down in your font menu and you'll find the course lesson options here. Last but not least, let's talk about colors. These obviously respond to color themes just like any other page section, but let's take a look at these new color options. Currently, I have this set to lightest 1. So if I click on lightest 1, and scroll down all the way to the bottom again, we'll see the course lesson options. Here we can change the side nav background color, the text color, active lesson color. I love that that's separate. And we can even set up a border for the side navigation. Mine's set to something pretty transparent right now. If you click on any of these circles, you can grab one from your palette or custom. These respond just like everything else inside your color menu. Again, that's at the very bottom of the color menu. Just look for course lesson, and these are all of your options available there. I have listed those in the description below. And that's it for your overview of lessons. Be sure to check out the description below for additional content I have that will help you create a brand new Squarespace course and make it uniquely yours. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give me a like and a comment, and definitely subscribe to my channel because I post a brand new tutorial every single week and I want to make sure you catch the latest. Thanks again for watching, and most importantly, have fun with your Squarespace website. Bye for now.